Hi guys, this is Shannon from Reptile Way and welcome back to our channel and to part 3 of relocating all of our reptiles all the way from the top of Australia in Darwin all the way down south to Victoria, Australia. So as of right now, all of our animals are safe and happy in Bendigo, and yeah, we've got some amazing content in this video. We're picking up some new enclosures thanks to Tanks by Congo, and we're going to show you some pretty easy yet aesthetically pleasing builds that you yourself can do for your scaly pets. Now before I do dive into this video, we've had lots of amazing people support this channel, and one of them being Nick from Wicked Wildlife. He is going through a bit of a tough time right now, so if you love your animal reptile content, it'll really help to head over to his channel, hit subscribe and check out some of his videos. Now it's time to see Tony from Tanks by Congo to pick up some amazing enclosures, so let's head over to his workshop. I absolutely love how these enclosures turned out. So we've got actual enclosures, and then I've got a rack system, and these are where my children's pythons are going in that rack, but only temporarily. I brought my dad along to help me get all these enclosures in the trailer. It's just a bit nicer when you've got somebody helping you and you're not doing it all by yourself. Yeah, so it just fit in that trailer. We were very lucky. But check out this workshop. I am so jealous of Tony's workshop, and if I didn't already have black enclosures, I love this wood for enclosures, so I probably would have gone with that if I didn't already have black things. But now it's time to set up these racks for some of my snakes, and I'm using this particular product for the substrate. I like this better than the actual Reptile brand type that you can get, just because it allows tunnels to be made a lot better, holds the humidity really nicely, and looks a lot more natural and feels a lot more like natural dirt out in the bush. So that's why I prefer to go with that instead of the actual Reptile brand. But here we go, we're putting some of the snakes in here. Now they're only staying in this rack system because I haven't moved into my rental yet, and I can't fit all the animals in enclosures in my mum's office. So we're going with a rack system, and then the snakes will be upgraded into the enclosures that you saw, and then the blueies and the black-headed python will be upgraded into even bigger enclosures. So I've sort of got almost like a hand-me-down system that's going to happen. But now we've got to install the lights in these enclosures that I bought, and I purchased this type of light online, and I've used it before, and I just like how it aesthetically looks. It's easy to unscrew it all to be able to thread it through small gaps as well. Really simple, but I've never had an issue with them breaking. They last forever. So that's why I choose that particular one. But you can see you can thread it through that tiny gap. But Tony has made this enclosure that you can lift the lid up if you sort of unscrew the screws on the side. But anyway, we're going to install these lights. So I've marked where I want the light to go with some chalk. And I always use my trusty Gorilla Tape to secure the light to the roof of the enclosure, and it makes it easier for me to drill, especially if you're just one person doing it. Which is a lot easier. Now I don't use the screws that the lights come with because they're terrible, so I use different screws. That's the only sort of feedback I have on this particular product. But we have a light secured, and we're going to start setting up the enclosures. Now you'll see the UVB light the bulb does not fit in that because I didn't have the right size, but because there's not a snake going in there, Bangers, who's going to be in this enclosure, won't be able to reach that light, so it's all good that I've just sort of attached it like that, but I am going to be getting a bulb that fits into there. But yeah, we've got a lot of sphagnum moss because blueies love to dig and they go nuts for sphagnum moss. The craziest bluey that I have that loves his sphagnum moss is Hannibal, that you'll be seeing a build later on. But I'm also putting some big leaved fake plants, so when they're basking, they can also feel a little bit secure at the same time. but we're just pouring some water in there for humidity because all this substrate is dry, and I've been doing this for a while, so I sort of can pour it like that because I know how much. And we're putting bangers in, and look at her enjoying that sphagnum moss, all the substrate for digging in. You must remember these guys are burrowing animals, and it's a great source of enrichment to add a lot of substrate in amongst where their hide is, because they love burrowing in there. Now we've got Onyx here who's going into, I think it's a she. I haven't got this guy properly sexed, but into her enclosure I'm going with. And because these guys have had a long trip, they're getting pinky mice, high quality food, high quality protein and fat, because a lot of them haven't eaten for a week, maybe longer with this move. So I really want them to have some really nutrient dense food, as well as they're getting vegetables and things like that. But look at this foodie. Onyx is a massive foodie. Now I did need to pick up some thermostats for my reptiles, and it may have been a little bit of an excuse to hang out with some really awesome reptiles. So here we are at my local reptile shop, Totally Reptiles. And yes, I did have to pick up some thermostats, and this is because I'm in a place that can be very hot and it can go very cold. So I did try my best, but there was no other way. I needed a thermostat. And check out, I could not go to this place without checking out some of their amazing reptiles. They have such an amazing collection of reptiles that you can buy from, but also they've got a lot of enrichment when it comes to other pet shops and things like that. So they do look after their animals. But anyway, we've brought this thermostat home. This is what it looks like. And then you can set the temperature here. So we can put up or down, then press save. You can also set the divergent, which is what we're going to be doing next. So the lights will turn on and off at 28 degrees and 34 degrees. So it won't sort of go out of that zone. And then you can also have an alarm set of, you know, if it exceeds or goes below certain temperatures, but I didn't have that set. Totally up to you what you want to do, but we've got the thermostat set, and I just loved these thermostats. They were so easy to set up, and I did have one for each of my enclosures. But here we go, we've got Kaio and Luan from Kent Removals, bringing all of my stuff finally from Darwin, has arrived in Bendigo. So I'll just show you the important things, like the enclosures coming out. So we've got Gimli's enclosure, and they took such good care of it. I can't believe it actually made it without having any damage. So, and even all the rock work, like all the vibrations this particular enclosure would have gone through, and it held. The same with the wardrobe. So now we're going to be setting up Gimli's enclosure. So we're giving it a good wipe down. I'm using this sanitized play sand you can get from Bunnings. And yeah, we're going to put the plants in. I'm sort of setting it up how I had it set up in Darwin. So I kept a lot of things that were in the enclosure. And this is how the office is starting to look now. Yeah, it's starting to really look nice with all the enclosures, but I do like my enclosures to be a little bit more aesthetically appealing, the inside of them. So I've decided to create some ruins, and you can get this sort of hot wire cutter set online, and it has all these different sections. So this is almost like a heated wand that is really good for, I guess, carving in all these details that you have in ruins. So it's really good for, I guess, carving out the windows and door sections and bricks and creating all of that texture that you would imagine in a set of ruins. Now you've got to think as well, you're not just making this aesthetically nice, it's also got to be functional for the animal and add as much enrichment as you can, which is what creating texture does. It will assist with shedding. But this is the first piece completely sort of carved, and this is the other type of ruin. This ruin is a little bit more complex to do and a different design. And now I've taken it all into the garage, because now what we're going to do, we're going to strengthen this. So we're going to flip this over. I'm going to put some spray foam in the areas where the pieces sort of join. So the legs, I want to add strength. I don't want them to snap off, even though you're going to have quite a few layers of grout. Now remember, if you're using spray foam, once it's set and expanded, carve the entire shiny top layer off. So you'll see that's what it looks like carved. And I'm also doing this sort of ruin build in cliffs for another animal. That'll be another video, but I've had some grout left over from that, so I'm just gonna use it to do the first layer or so. So it's nice having a few builds on the go, because it helps you not waste any grout. You can use it all. But you want your first layer of grout to be a thick pancake consistency to fill in all those air holes and to add that strength. And then as the layers progress, you get thinner and thinner, and that will cover in all the cracks. After that first thick pancake consistency grout layer, you'll have a few cracks. So that's why you get thinner and thinner until you don't have any cracks. But now we've flipped it over, and we're going to be putting some grout on the upper side. So the main side you're going to see. So the grout stage can take a little bit of time, because you want to do about a minimum 3 to 4 layers, but you may need to do extra if you have cracks appearing. But the final sort of colours I used, so I'm using Davco sanitized grout and the gunmetal grey, which is this colour, and the light greys and the misty greys. All those greys are really good for ruins. So yeah, have a play around with the different types of colours you can use for your particular ruins. So I wanted to go darker with the black-headed python's ruins and then lighter with this set of ruins, just so they don't look exactly the same. But now, once you've sort of done that final layer of grout, when the grout is sort of almost dry but it's a little bit damp to the touch, that is the perfect time for carving cracks, grooves, sort of accentuating where the bricks are. Otherwise, if you wait till it's dry, it's too hard. But now I'm adding some texture in. So I'm just getting some grout and I'm almost dabbing it just to create it sort of a rough surface. It's not all smooth. But you can see more of a simple ruins on the left and a little bit more complex on the right. So it's up to you what style you want to go for. But I did this style, especially this one, for the bluey, so I could put all the substrate in so it could bury and hide. But now I've got to do the final touches, which is the painting. So we're going to do some dry brushing to make it look worn, almost like the wind has been ripping at it for thousands of years. And this really does, I think, bring your build to the next level doing this step. And you're just going to make it match with all the other pieces as well. So I've almost got like a bit of the wall has fallen away. But now we're going to get to the waterproofing. So again, I like to flip it upside down first and do all the underside, and then I flip it up the right way. But I have taken this inside into the bathroom with lots of waterproof sheets, because I couldn't do this in the garage because it's a bit too dirty and dusty, and if the wind blows it could sort of get on the piece and get stuck to it. So I wanted more of a sanitary environment, and I managed to do all the waterproofing in a day, so that was good. The bathroom could be back in use. And after this had cured for 7 days, I could give the reptiles a go on it. So I like to test it out, as you can see, before I put it in their enclosures, to see how they move on it without any interference of substrate or anything like that. And you can see Hannibal, the blue-tongued lizard, absolutely loving it. So now it's time to put these builds into their enclosure.
settled out with no thought to why. When I left my worries and I left my bed, I make my home on the road. And but I fell for you, and you fell for me. I sailed on through free. When I stepped,
I put Hannibal, the blue tongue lizard, on it, and he just wanted to go straight into that sphagnum moss. I told you before, Hannibal loves fresh sphagnum moss.
'cause I never met someone like you. When I fell for you, and you fell for me. I sailed on through free. But I fell for you, and you fell for me. I sailed on through.
I was so surprised. He enjoyed it way more than what I thought, and I think this is a really good design for this species because they have their nice dark place, their burrowing place, but then also if you've got a shy blue tongue lizard, they can easily pop their head out for food. So I tap Hannibal's food bowl dish and he'll pop out, which is great. But now we've put the ruins into Squiggles' enclosure, the black-headed python. Now this is not going to be Squiggles' forever home. Same with the blue tongue lizards. When I move into my new place in the next few months, they're all going to be having an upgrade, bigger enclosures, and the children's pythons will be going in here. But we've put Diglett into this enclosure, and we're using the ruins to slightly increase the surface area, give a nice basking spot. And even though I wouldn't recommend putting a snake of this size in an enclosure this size, but temporarily, because we've got limited space in my mum's office where we can temperature control the room, this will have to do only for the next month or so. And that's because with me, with my reptiles, I do like to keep them and I like to do all that I can. Having a pet is a bit of a commitment, but check out Diglett, just loving these ruins, exploring all in them, and check out the mound. I was laughing my head off when I found Diglett's head popping out of here, and this is what they do in the wild. They'll stick their head out of a crack or crevice and use that black head to bask, to heat up. But the ruin looks beautiful. Diglett really was loving that particular set. But here are all the enclosures, how they're looking now with those builds in them. And as I said, this is not what the animal's going to be living in, but this is what I have to do until I move into my new place. So there's going to be a lot of moving animals around when I move, just so they've got the space and the size. So that's where the children's pythons are. Those enclosures will be theirs, and all the animals in there, the blue tongues, the big snake, will go into bigger enclosures. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. I really do hope you did enjoy it and it gave you some building inspiration and maybe a bit more of an idea that you can take your reptiles along with you when you do move. But if you did like the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe as well. It'll really help our channel out, and we've got so many more videos to come, building, reptile videos, so stay tuned. But we'll see you next time. Bye guys.